Yeah, this is not gonna work. I've got to redo all of this. You're probably wondering how I ended up here. Hi, they call me Pi, and I'm building the very first product for my indie game studio. It's called Your Class Rep. Looks like this. It's a game about winning a middle school election. Last week for a script writing version of me, I printed a fully playable test version of my game, including the cards, the rulebook, printed everything all out in one go. And I'm really glad I did, because it did not turn out how I expected. I almost cut off my hand. I'll be walking you through the process from beginning to end. We'll talk about the successes, the failures, because there were a lot of those, and even how much everything costs. Then we'll talk about what needs to change before I print out the next test run. All right, let's get into it. So first, we need to understand why we do test prints. For physical products, there's a lot of variables you can't account for on screen. You want to translate what we see on the monitor into something we can hold and make sure they align before we start shelling out hundreds of dollars for multiple copies. Does the game feel good in hand? Are we able to cut them correctly? Do they even fit in the box? You want to know these things so you can adjust them before a final print run. First up was laying out items for print. I started with cards because they're the most important part, but I completely messed them up. Attention to detail is not my strong suit. I had a vision to change the way abilities are displayed, but ended up forgetting my own vision halfway through, I guess. But I think that may have been a blessing in disguise, because it inspired me to go ahead and kind of rework the card face almost entirely. And I like the way that came out much better. Because I'm doing tarot size cards at 300 DPI, my cards are going to land pretty close to 900 by 1500 pixels once you account for the margin. That is the allotment you give cutting machines for that error that happens in reality. I built a little template with rulers and popped the cards in. Next, I focused on the box. For the test, I knew I wanted to get it on a standard A4 sheet of paper, but to do that, I had to make some adjustments to my original design. I cut some of the top, so to speak, and man, I'm getting flashbacks already. I did make some other minor adjustments to hopefully make the box opening experience more unique and exciting. The hardest part for my little pie brain was actually the manual. So the game comes with a 22-page manual, and you have to do something called imposition. I think it's called imposition. Basically arranging the pages in a special way so that when you layer them together, they appear in the right order. The front cover being on the right side still messes with my head, and it didn't help that my 22 pages was actually 24 if you count the cover and the back page thing, the last page. Okay, now we have the files ready for print, or so I think. I'm having issues with my copy of Photoshop. When I try to use it to convert files to PDF, they're coming out 4 times larger than what I need. 72 DPI instead of the 300 DPI I planned for. Eventually, I reluctantly settle on reducing the size by 24% of the original for print, and I email those bad boys to myself. The cards, the box art, those attached just fine. It wasn't an issue, but the manual, it was so dense, it couldn't fit as an attachment, and I had to save it to my Google Drive instead. That shouldn't be an issue, right? Foreshadowing. And then I head to the store. I head in, I make my way to the young man at the counter, we'll call him Mr. Goat. I explain what I want to do, print some files on the heaviest card stock they have. Mr. Goat explains that the heaviest card stock is the 13 by 9. And that he would need to cut it, so I'd have to come back tomorrow to get the pages. I told him that we could go with the standard size instead, because I really wanted to get these cards in hand as soon as possible. And luckily, that's how I set all the pages up for print. So I send this young man the files for print. The first 2 received just fine, but remember when I whispered foreshadowing in the mic about a minute ago? Well, this is why I did that. He couldn't open the larger file. Luckily for me, and this is how he got his name, Mr. Go. He opened the files on my phone, and within a couple seconds, he had them split into smaller files and ready for me to email them back to the store. While I was fiddling around with getting those files ready for him, he printed out the other documents. And it feels like as soon as I sent the split files, he already merged them back together in the correct order, and he got those sent off as well. Wow. As the pictures I spent over a year working on spit out of the printer, his coworker would grab them and bring them over. As she brought each one, I tried to read her expressions to see what she thought, and I can't read people at all. No, but seriously, I think she did want to say something. I think I see a twinkle of interest in her eye, but I'm not exactly sure, and I'm shy, y'all. I'm not just gonna ask her what she thinks. You know she probably sees all kinds of crazy stuff working at a UPS store. Stuff sent to mail out, stuff printed all the time, so I didn't want to add any extra burden. Oh, and did I mention all of this and I walked in the store 3 minutes before closing time? What? These guys are awesome. Amazing staff. And yeah, I mean, awesome store. I definitely want to come back. If spoiler, not really, kind of. I'm going back. I do need more prints. Hopefully Mr. Goat's still there when I go. But yeah, let's talk about what I got and how much it costs. We got the box envelope, I'm not sure what to call it, thing. This is printed on one sheet of heavy cardstock A4 front and back. We got 2 sets of the playing cards. These were also printed on that heavy cardstock paper, front and back, totaling 8 pages. And one booklet is totaled 6 pages, front and back, on their standard A4 paper. Total cost after taxes was $7.95. Not bad, right? Not bad. UPS will sponsor me for the next video. So after I'm leaving, that's when I realized I didn't take any pictures. I didn't act like a YouTuber. I pray to God editing me has figured out some interesting way to keep y'all watching this whole video until now. And I take my phone out, take a little picture in the parking lot, and that's the best you're gonna get out of me because I'm too shy to really do any more than that in the parking lot. I head home, play with the kids a little bit, kiss the wife, and fast forward to that evening, and I can get to work. I start with the game manual, which I actually think turned out pretty good. The best out of the bunch. The cuts are really easy to line up, and the hard work of imposing, it paid off. The imposed pages were really satisfying to put together. Next was the box, the envelope, whatever I'm calling it. Maybe in the future I'll dedicate a video to how I designed the box, or at least the intention behind it, because this was the biggest failure. I didn't engineer it properly, so the overlaps aren't correct when it's folded. It's not close at all. And remember I mentioned cropping off the top flap? Even if the overlaps were correct, and they couldn't be, but that's, I'll get to that in a second. When you add cards in the manual inside, the cards are exposed. You can see the cards while the box is closed. Okay, it's been a second. The folded flaps couldn't overlap correctly because I didn't factor in the thickness of the cards. You'll also notice some tearing along the fold lines. I'll have to do some research to figure out how to mitigate this. The best I can hope right now is a 90-degree fold, and maybe some scoring will help. Let me know if any of you paper crafters have experience with this type of stuff. Okay, and this is how I almost cut off my hand. I was doing the cards. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but this error kind of snowballs into a comedy of errors. What happened was I tried to stack 4 sheets on top of each other. The cutting blade isn't sharp enough for that much paper, especially with all 3.14 pounds of my body weight pushing down the sliding device. So this cut, well, I guess these cuts really tore through the paper, and it ended up making it curved and unsquare. And for these types of cutters, that means all the rest of the cuts are also misaligned. Eventually, I go back through, I try to get some cleaner lines, but you may see some blatant issues in the future footage. I did that off camera. You'll notice these corners have little white spots. Those are to help align with cutting. What was supposed to happen is I used, it's called a corner puncher to round the edges, kind of like what you expect on a normal playing card. But guys, every time I go to a store, they don't have any paper cutters, paper crafters. Are y'all buying all these things? What's going on? Can y'all let me borrow one? Another one of the issues I had across the board was the dark gray tone was just too close to the black tone for my liking. So that'll be something else I need to address. That was a problem too. Okay, so what's next? Here, hold on, I made a list. Actually, it's here on the LessThanPi Discord, where I post all the process photos of my progress on the project. It's a little community where we all push ourselves to be more creative, commit to goals. I look forward to seeing you guys there if you'd like to join. The tasks I need to, that's a weird word. The tasks I need to complete before the next test print. Yes, you heard that right. The next print. I said it like 6 times, so yeah. If you guys want to see what happens in that video, you got to subscribe. And hey, let me know what you think about what we've done so far in the process. All right, guys. As always, God bless. Be safe. I'll see you next time.